What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to do some predictions on Ratchet and Clank: A Rift Apart. I want to talk about when this game will release. Now, there's been a game that's fascinated me for a long time. Firstly, I'm a big Ratchet and Clank fan. I think this game looks absolutely, specifically this game, looks absolutely incredible. This is, in my opinion, them doing tech demos like more right than what they've done in the past. I've said this before, games, especially with the PS4, its launch, Infamous Second Son, even to me, I mean, obviously, nothing's ever built to just be, except for games very specifically, I guess, tech demos. But Ratchet and Clank, I mean, you can see what the PS5 can do, at its core in this game. I think that's absolutely incredible. Now, a couple things. We don't know if this game is going to only be on PS5. I assume, honestly, I hope it is. I assume that it probably is only because they didn't mention it, but I'm not going to be extremely confident in that fact. We know Horizon. We know games like Miles Morales, like Sackboy. These are all games coming to PS4. Ratchet and Clank was not part of that, but Horizon was. Now, if you say that, I feel like if Ratchet was, you would have said the same thing for Ratchet and Clank. You know what I mean? So I will personally say that I think Demon's Souls and Ratchet and Clank are the two early games that they're saying, okay, these are kind of big deals, but these aren't the biggest deals in the world. Here's games that you can only get on PS5. They're not on PS4. They're not on PC. They're only on PS5. Horizon, for sales purposes, we're going to have it on both. For God of War, we'll see over the next coming months what happens with that game. But Ratchet, we'll say, is only PS5. Now, a couple other things to note. Ratchet and Clank was always talked about as a launch window game. There was another game that was talked about as a launch window game, and that was Demon's Souls. Now, rumor had it, Demon's Souls was not even close to being a slam dunk for launch day. It was actually a pretty big surprise to some that Demon's Souls, they said, is coming out day one. Very awesome. I would honestly, would I take Demon's Souls over Ratchet and Clank? No, but I do think Demon's Souls wins over an audience that's completely separate from Ratchet and Clank, that honestly you'll probably get, one, anyway, and two, maybe even from like Miles Morales early on, and then just something about maybe the same kind of fan bases. Demon's Souls, though, that's a completely, I think, different fan base than a lot of other games. So again, I'm not saying I'd rather have Demon's Souls over Ratchet. Honestly, I would want both, but these were both games trying to come out at launch. There's no way. Now, here's the thing. I have seen some people say that they feel like Sony is holding off on announcing at least one other game that maybe comes out at launch. Is it possible that they're hiding it, and then in October, when Microsoft is maybe Microsoft is really starting to steal the thunder, obviously with the Bethesda purchase, all that stuff, maybe Sony comes out and says, okay, we were hiding it. Ratchet and Clank is also coming out PS5 only day one. Could be. So let's not rule out November 12th, but in my personal opinion, my release date, and I'm going to give myself a couple months, which could be a cop-out, which could be lame, but I'm going to say January or February. January has games, and January always kind of does have games. It's always up and down. We've had Kingdom Hearts release in January in years past, Kingdom Hearts 3. We've had Monster Hunter World release in January. We've had a lot of different games. This upcoming year, I should say, we're having Prince of Persia Remake and Hitman 3. Prince of Persia Remake is not necessarily a high-tier game. Hitman 3, you could argue, it's never sold like one, which is kind of the most disappointing thing with Hitman. Is I'd say it's a top-level game in terms of quality and design, all that stuff. But in terms of sales, it just has not impressed very well at all. But I mean, there's two decently sized games at worst coming out in January. So, you got to think about PlayStation's strategy here, right? At launch, you can play Miles, you can play Sackboy, you can play Astro's Playroom, you can play Destruction All-Stars, you could play Demon's Souls, but again, Demon's Souls is that exclusive. I think you need to follow through with another exclusive, honestly, very soon after, even using what they did with the PS4. So PS4, the big exclusive was Killzone. Killzone Shadowfall came out day one, right? You could play. There were the third-party games. There were also PlayStation Plus, like Resogun and Contrast. But then we had to wait till February. So 3 months later, we had to wait till February for Infamous Second Son, which, was very, very popular at the time, or was, everybody was very excited about it. I was extremely excited about it. But you had a game. Again, so you just think about how that even works in somebody everybody's lives. You have all of these games that come out for Black Friday, for Thanksgiving, for November if you're not in the U.S. You play all these games. You have the holiday season. December, there's normally not much, especially after week 2 of December. And then January, you restart. And then for PlayStation, February came around that year, and we had Infamous. So for this year, I think it's honestly the same kind of thing. You hit us with, because I guess here's what I'll say. If it's not Ratchet and Clank in January, February, it's Horizon. And I don't want them to rush it. I don't think, by the way, it will be rushed. I mean, it'll come out when it needs to come out. I think it would just kind of work better in the grand scheme of things, knowing, by the way, we only know those games. Let's pretend God of War 2, we don't know that. Let's pretend that's maybe even the fall of 2021. For right now, the exclusives that we know of PlayStation after launch are Ratchet and Horizon. I think it makes more sense in year 1 to do, okay, let's do January, February for Ratchet and Clank, then let's do April, May, June, somewhere in the spring, early summer range for Horizon. So now we've gotten, I mean, you know what I mean? You've covered most of the months, even though it's only 2 games for 6 months, you've covered them because they're really big games. They're really big games. One of them is only on PS5. One of them is probably going to be more geared for PS5 that a lot of PS5 owners are going to get with Horizon. And then you go into the fall and you could have God of War, you could have Spider-Man, you could have surprise. I mean, I'm sure there are surprise games that they're working on. Okay, so I mean, that's really, we don't know all that much, right? But we do know that. So I think Ratchet and Clank works really, really well because if it comes out at launch, because it's weird, like it's almost as if I'm actually petitioning it to not come out at launch. If it came out at launch, that would be amazing. It would be another only PS5 game. Like I said, there's a lot of value there, but what do you have after that? Well, again, November comes and goes. You'd have Demon's Souls, you'd have Ratchet and Clank, and then you have Miles, but again, PS5 only. You'd have those games. You go into December, there's nothing. There's Immortals, Phoenix Rising, the Ubisoft game. You go into January, you get Hitman. It's got the connection with VR, all that stuff, fantastic. You go into February, you got Far Cry. But again, where's your PlayStation games? Where's Horizon? Well, if Horizon isn't in February, say Horizon's June. Say maybe they want it to be February, March, but ends up getting pushed all the way till June because you got to give them time. It's got to come out right. I'm completely on board with that. Also, Horizon to me is my most anticipated game of all of these games. Over the next quite a while, Horizon 2 is that game. So I mean, I want that game to come out high quality as well. If that game comes out in June, fine, but you have just now had all your games come out in November, and then you need to wait 7 months to get your next exclusive in June. There has been years where there's been less Sony exclusives than others. We have been kind of spoiled over the last couple where, we've gotten a lot of, they may not be all huge. They may not all be for the same people. You know what I mean? Like Dreams, Neo, Death Stranding. A lot of these games are not for everybody, but you can constantly say, oh my God, here, or Final Fantasy VII's remake. You know what I mean? You can always say another exclusive. Not everybody may get them. Okay, and you're getting different audiences for each of them, but you're constantly having a lineup. If you do this, there's, besides surprises, which of course there could be, you'd be separating them by over half a year. That is a lot, especially when you're trying to push a new console. You have Microsoft gaining steam. Who knows if they try to get Halo Infinite out, saying that February, March, April period. Maybe if it beats Horizon. Well, now you have Halo, but you don't have a Horizon to counter it. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's a difficult thing. Overall, Ratchet and Clank, I think, helps it. So I understand I've talked a lot about Horizon in a Ratchet and Clank video, but I think Horizon, look, when you're Sony, you have a plan. You have all of these studios in your mind. You have second-party studios. You have third-party deals all in your mind. So, yeah, Ratchet and Clank is obviously the thing we're talking about, but you have to look at what they're doing with the rest to figure out that. Ultimately, again, they are not going to push out a game that's not ready. So if Ratchet and Clank is not ready for launch, they will not push it. I do not want them to push it. If Ratchet and Clank isn't ready for February, they will not push it, and I don't want them to push it. But I feel like very early 2021 is probably the best time because, again, you're coming off of Christmas, all of that stuff. Now you're going to be looking for more games to play. And factually, now we get more game announcements the closer we get, but we don't know all that much for January, February. It'll fill in by the time we get to like Game Awards, right? Maybe Gotham Knights comes out around that time. It'll fill up. I mean, it always does. March will fill up, but Ratchet and Clank, I feel like, fits really, really well into that time period. So, guys, let me know in the comments below. What do you think? When do you think Ratchet and Clank A Rift Apart is coming out? You guys excited for it? Do you think it'll just be on PS5? Let me know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel. Hit the bell bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. And I do a brand new video on this channel every single day. And so I hope to see you guys for tomorrow's video.